for some real thickness. I think something like that's alright. Maybe it's a little bit too thick actually. Maybe like that. This one we can move in more. Same here, now we can just kind of even that out. As you can see, it's more thick here. So something like this. Now to get it clean, we can just edit that edge flow. The edit edge flow is one of the most important modeling features that I use all the time. Now you can see we have a nice clean flown line. Clean that up a little bit here. Not do that just yet. Try to clean it up in the bottom as well. I'm just using the block out that we have here to edge shoot about end. Now again we can edit this edge flow to smooth it out. Do want to be careful that I keep like some sharpness here, because again we have this sharp corner, so I don't want it to just come rounded. Now we can see wedge and the goggles. I'm not sure why it's looking so weird. It's right here. We can just select up until our block out ends and extrude that. And that's why it's selecting weird. We got a double edge there. Actually, now select fine. Now we can extrude. Just gonna try to match it up to a block out. You can also go into tweak mode. That way you can just drag the verts without manipulating. Try to keep your edge flow somewhat clean. I think we can actually go out of tweak mode. We can actually take this and extrude that a little bit. So we have a little feed there. I'm looking this one, so it should become really nice and thin eventually. I'm going to tweak mode again, just gonna make it really nice and thin. Now to get that nice edge flow, we can edit the edge flow. So it's going to smooth it all out together. See how that edge flow is slowly becoming more averaged. See how it's smoothing that out really well, getting a nice rounded shape for us. So we can get rid of the block out by now. I think the bottom set's too big. This is kind of how we model in Zbrush as well, right? We take one vert and we move them with the move brush. Now we do it with the tweak manipulator in Maya. And be careful that I don't lose my corner. Yeah. And I lost at the bottom, so let's get it back. I think it should be this one. So to make sure we keep our border here, let's crease it. Have some extra flow here. Actually, let's do that yet. So let's bevel, chamfer on and smaller. So now we'll always know where that corner is as well. See, that looks quite good already. And this should be pretty nice and rounded, the transition. So we can take this and bevel up the second leg. That's way too sharp. Let's focus on all the bevels. It's a little bit difficult because we cannot make the bevel too big with small things here. Actually, let's start by doing the thickness. So we get a little bit of a challenging result because we have that bevel. Let's get rid of it for now. I can see it's a lot nicer. Now let's start bridging this stuff up. Maybe it's gonna be a little bit easy if we delete this and make a duplicate. And we delete everything except for that part. And here we can extrude it inwards. Just things that we needed to. Maybe something like that. Just a little bit of sand, okay? Now let's make sure to flip that. We already have this, so we can delete it. We can take this and this, combine it, and just merge the verts. Now you can see it's all stuck together nicely. Now we just need to bridge it up. Not sure why it's not letting us bridge. I think we might have some double edges going on. Ah yeah, we do. Get rid of that thing. Now we should be able to bridge. As you can see, we can bridge. See, it's pretty crooked, like it's not straight. So we can go ahead and Try to edit that edge flow a bit. Get rid of this edge here for now. Actually, let's keep that. Let's get rid of this one. Again, I'm editing that edge flow all the time. Now let's try to add some bevels. This might actually be a little bit too thick. Take all this to vertex. Nope. Just looking for the easiest way to adjust the thickness. I think it's gonna be like this. And we gotta edit that edge flow a bit again. See how that's really smoothing that flow out there. I think this one meshes closer. That looks pretty okay. I think we have a little bit too much curvature here. Up here, I want it to be a little bit tighter, so we can take all that and bevel. And we can choose the tightness of that corner. Something like that. It's a little bit too tight. I think that's looking good. Maybe a little bit of tightness here as well. Let's do a quick export. See, we don't need this anymore, and also not this. So we're gonna delete one. Put this in place a little bit better. I think it's getting way too thick here. I think the best thing that we can do is just to match it up to those verts. And smooth out a little bit. I'm sure there's a better way to do this than do it all by hand, one by one, but I have no idea what that would be. If you do, leave it behind in the comments, because I hate doing this stuff. But it's definitely the most simple way to do it, I guess. I'm just in component mode, so I can move it in the normal. I think we putting them a bit too close, but we can mess around with that later. Should actually be close, matching them up to this line here. Go back to tweak mode. Try to keep that in the middle. Maybe we can just edit that out. I think we can just delete it, I guess. Maybe just make it less thick. Can use that edit edge flow to match the edges up. Gonna take all these. Gonna move them out a little bit. This just so we get a little bit more space to work with the bevel here. I think that's a pretty good bevel. Maybe we can make it a little bit small. I think it's okay. Go ahead and bevel this out. I want to be sure that I merge it there. We don't get a hard edge here. This needs to be all smooth. So you can see that smooths out all fine. Clean that up again a little bit. Better connection will be middle here. Avoid that bevel for now. Actually, let's put that one first. See, that one should be kind of rounded. I think 0.25, 0.22. See, we actually have a little bit of a rounding effect at the edge there. Let's think a little bit how we're gonna put that one in. So we should definitely start with a bevel. Then I think we can just take these, invert these. X is normal and just push it out a bit. To get a little bit of a round effect, nothing too crazy. We can take all those edges again. Connect it. A little bit of a mess there. Go ahead and fix that. There's some problems there. Show what's going wrong here. think we accidentally beveled something there. Could go back, but I'm just gonna fix it by hand.
This should go left. And that's fixed now. Pointing out a little bit too much.
So now it's selecting fine. So let's select those, the vertex, axis normal, just push that out.
You see we got a rounded edge on that. We can get rid of this edge right here. Move that in a little bit. We can delete it.
Because that I want that rounded edge to be a little bit thicker.
Of course, I have to move this in place. Group surface side. Right side to the surface.
Add one more edge. That's going to be a support edge. So we can edit the edge flow on this one. And we can do the same here. Just move this all in place. We can delete the support edge. Now let's round this out again. See, now the roundness is a bit thicker, which is nice.
And this one maybe bevel it. Now it's a nice thick round edge on it. I'll make it a little bit less thick again. Some vertices there.
This is pretty much my workflow for modeling anything. First we make the Zbrush as a block out. Then we can use that block out to model it in Maya. So that way I don't really need to plan anything out while modeling, which I like, because it's a little bit more difficult to plan things out in modeling, opposed to just sculpting. At least for me. Then now we have a pretty nice rounded thingy here. That we can, I guess, add some support for some cloth. Let me think for a little bit if I want to model that or sculpt. I think that will be easier to just sculpt. Let me give it a quick try. Now go ahead and save it as goggles. Pilot helmet. I should have saved way earlier, by the way. We're lucky with no crashes. Can delete all that.
I think that edge flow can make it all straight. Move it out again.
So there will be a support where our cloth is being glued onto. At least I think they use like glue to do this. That doesn't really matter. Guess we should have some rounding here as well. I actually think this works quite well. So we can just model it all out. And remember, this is a duplicate where we're working on. So we can just delete all this. Then we're left with this stuff. So to bridge everything, just select all and get rid of the last edges and then bridge. We're having uneven edges. So we can do it portion by portion to kind of troubleshoot it. And that's of course because we have the bevel here. I think it should work now. Yep.
This might already touch much about topology.
Now you can see we have that rounded edge, and here we have some cloth going onto it.
Push out a little bit.
Some here just pushed out a little bit. Let's add some different colors. It's just to kind of visualize it. I think that looks pretty fine. Maybe the rounding is a bit too strong there. But that's because of the way the topology is. Gonna fix that in Zbrush. It's easier to just sculpt that away. Try to fix our intersections. Just want to add like a little rounded detailing here. Now it's like we have a little socket where it sits in there. Looks nice.
I like that bluish color. This one should be like yellowish.
Still move this around a bit, we can just go to soft select. Make it a little bit less thick. I want to get rid of that round-like effect. That looks a little bit straighter. Same for here. See, we have a little bit of a wobble there, so just take all and edit that edge flow. Now we just need to make the glass. So to do that, I think we can take this bevel here, add a connect, and another bevel.
This we can extrude it inwards. Bevel all this stuff out a bit. Doesn't work.
I think we can extrude this. Just want to add a little bit more thickness.
And one more bevel here. That looks fine. I guess that's too thin for glass.
It's probably a little bit too thin. Because this is not glass, this is like a thicker plastic, I think. Just gonna take all that stuff, delete it. Maybe something like that. Let's bevel that all out.
I think that's a little bit, that's still a bit thin actually. Maybe we put it here.
I think we gotta do this edge instead.
This one. I think that's perfect.
So we can just kind of go back and forward on this, adding edges until we like it. Thickness. So just add an edge back until we get something that we like for the thickness. I think like that works fine. Now to get that a little bit straight, I'm just deleting those. Now we can add the edge here. Delete again. I'm actually becoming quite slow. I'm just gonna take that and delete all the history. That should make it fast again to work with. Which it doesn't, so I think I might have to restart Maya. Now it should be working fast again, which it does. So if your Maya sometimes gets pretty slow, you can just go ahead and restart and that should fix it. Just add an extra edge here so we can extrude. I want to keep the bevel here because we do have it in the glass as well. So as you can see, we kind of made the mistake of not having the same amount of edges on top as below. That shouldn't be too hard to fix. Delete this edge, we don't need it. Sure, we're not deleting any of those points. Looks pretty nice and clean.
See, let's flow nicely over into the glass.
Do you think I gotta edit that stuff there again? Because it's starting too early. Just take all this and get rid of it for now. I think that's an appropriate thickness. Give some thickness to the plastic. I think this is okay for plastic. Add some transparency. You don't have to set up all these materials if you don't want to. It's just to kind of preview it. I think that all looks fine. We can go to this one to preview the basic material. We can see where we have to cut. My is becoming slow again, it's really annoying. But we're almost done. Just putting this in to put some detail again.
Go back to materials.
See, my mouse being really weird. So one thing I noticed, we have this little pinch here. It's a bit hard to see, but I like it here, but don't want it over here. Can take this. We can collapse that all together. So now the pinch stops where it should. So to visualize this a little better, I'm gonna group them. Make sure I X on parent again. Duplicate and scale -1. So you can see we have a little bit of a problem, that they're a little bit too close to each other. Let me just move that out, -1. This should be -1. No, 1. So that looks about right, I think. Maybe I'm gonna try to get rid of that bevel there. Let's try to bring this into a Zbrush. Do have a few n-gons in here. And I don't just want to smooth it out, because I think I want to keep the first subdivision. Clean up. Let's do clean. That's automatically gonna get rid of the n-gons. So yeah, it's actually doing a pretty good job of directing that topology. I'll clean this one out a little bit. This one shouldn't have any n-gons. Actually it does. Just gonna check the shading. You can see that all looks alright. Let's export. And and a Zbrush import. Not sure if I want to actually move it like that. Look at that connection there. So we should move this a little bit further so there's still some space for the ladder underneath. Like that. I think that's looking pretty alright. I think this is a little bit towards the right though. It should be a little bit towards the left. And be really carefully trying to change that without messing the smoothing up. Go ahead and add some separation. So we can split them by polygroups. I can find it. Word split. Let's wait. Not sure why it didn't work the first time, but it's okay. Go ahead and add some polypaint. Show what color to give the glass. Be hidden for now. Again, sticking out. And fill out some of those missing colors. We can match this up to the goggles. Maybe not. Not sure what to do with the color here. I think I'll just keep it like a dark gray so it doesn't stick out too much. We can make the face the same color. We can flash it. It's a little bit too dark. But that's alright. Where did our face go? So let's move on to the ladder. I'm gonna start off with this piece. I think maybe we can actually replace the cloth thing that we have here. So the ladder goes into the little holder that we made for it over here. So we can just take this. Let's just start moving that out a little bit. So we can delete this. And we're gonna subdivide this, Zremesh. Doing a horrible job. Not sure why it's doing it so badly. Maybe if we try to inflate it a little bit. Let's subdivide a few times. Then we Dynamash it. Now we should be able to get a nice. Gonna try to export, import. Sure why it's creating such a bad topology.
That seems to work.
So now we got a topology that we can work with. Just gonna go ahead and hide some stuff. I mean. Get rid of the colors.
And let's get rid of the mess.
This is just so I can focus on one part of the mesh at that time. And we have to inflate it a little bit.
Take some direction brush.
This just gives me a little bit more control over the smoothing. So we can decide in what direction the smoothing should be applied to instead of all. And matching this up at the back side maybe doesn't seem important because you don't really see it. It's gonna make it easy to topologize. Because if we have it like this, we're gonna get a less clean topology in bake. Because then we need to add an edge here and an edge here, or just one edge, and it's gonna be mismatching. So just to keep your asset nice and clean, spend some time getting it right. Want to pay attention to that volume. I'm just gonna look for a shape that I like. Just looking at the wiggle here that I'm trying to recreate. I think that's some nice detail. Like that break up there and fold. It's gonna add a lot of asymmetrical. So this is kinda how you wanna work with reference. You don't need to exactly replicate your reference. Just want to take the elements of your reference that you like and put that in there.
Just like folding on itself.
It's a mistake that I made a lot in the beginning when doing clothes. If you're making a fold, you don't just want to push out that fold, but next to it you also want to go ahead and push it in. So now we're getting a low here, and then a high here. And then we have a nice transition going like this. So we get this flowy stuff going on. When I was first starting, I would have like say this is the side view for a fold. I would just make a fold and that's it. You want to go like, if we add a fold here, then you should take a little bit away from this fabric, so you get this nice squiggly wavy stuff going on. So that's something to keep in mind with any clothing or fabric that you do.
Not sure why this mesh has subdivisions already.
And like a fold like this, one thing that you want to do is not just have it like this. You want to take the actual geometry and then push it over the other geometry. But right now we don't have the right topology yet to really support that, so I'm not too worried about it. That's something that we really gotta push in later. Over here, let's add some indents. It's gonna be for this little clip. I think it's about time that we start modeling that as well. So we're gonna start from the middle and then work our way out to this. Actually, let's go back to Zbrush. No, subdivide this a few times. Actually, we don't need to subdivide it. Just export it. Apply this one, export. Let's go a little bit lower. And go back. So we have our subdivisions gone.
And let's leave this one.
So here we have our goggles. One thing that we can do, what I like, is just take this, give this a different material, just make like a little bit darker or lighter, and go with lighter. So you can really easily see the difference between those two. So at first sight this seems kind of like a complicated shape, but it's easy. Let's do cylinder. Give this 8. Actually we can just take this up to 12, 24. Gonna be baking this anyway.
Bevel. get rid of all that.
I think we put the goggles a little bit too far apart from each other maybe, because this is not lining up in size. So let's see how it looks if we move closer. I think I won't move it closer than this, because this is how I like it. I can push this in a little bit. But for me, I'll keep it like this, because I don't feel like changing it again. So to create a hole, we chamfer a vertex. And I'm not connecting any edges to here, because I want it to smooth out nicely.
Something like that. Make sure it's all straight. Now we can twist again a little bit.
Actually, before we twist, let's make the hole bigger. Now we can also make it a little bit more perfectly round. So we have an actual reference. And let's delete that.
See, that fits nicely.
We have like a little cutoff there. Let's make cutoff. So maybe like that. Just delete this. And this should be pretty nice and rounded, but we'll do that later. I think this piece done. Let's check.
Let's add a thickness. Some weird stuff. A little bit thicker.
And sometimes you need to make it thicker than it actually is, so you can read it better from a distance.
That's about right. Go ahead and delete the part again. Make it straight. That's all nice and straight. It's the same here. Everything's nice and straight now. Let's take all those edges. Let's bevel.
The edge is not holding up very well. Now we should be getting a nice clean bevel. Now we can put another bevel here. And that's gonna give us some issues. Let's fix that. It's not the cleanest topology here, but I think it works. Let's check. Actually, that doesn't work.
Let's clean it.
That's better. So now we can add how soft that should be with a bevel. That one's broken again.
Now we can do it.
I think something like that. Some weird stuff going on the other side. So we can just get rid of that. Now to clean that up a little bit. I think we have a nice looking transition. Maybe move these up a little bit.
Just add a little bit of curvature like this.
Keep in mind, this doesn't need to be perfectly straight, it's old metal. This should be the furthest point out though. So now we can merge this all up together. Now we have a pretty nice looking clip. I think we made it too big though, but that's easily fixable. Now we made it way too big. Group those together. So that way we can scale them together. I think we can move this out a little further. Like that looks alright to me. So let's continue with the goggles. Gonna move this down a little bit. We're gonna do this little holder part. By now you already know that I like to start off with a cube. I'm gonna place it in place. Let's make to a plane. So this should go pretty far. I'm looking to this edge here. Now over here, let's make sure it's going to grip around it. So we can extrude, scale, look at the relation. It's a little bit too big. Just putting those verts there to round it out. Gonna leave these out, we'll boolean them later. Go ahead and give some thickness. Just kind of looking at the thickness here and going for something that's thin but not too thin so it won't read. I'm gonna make it a little thick. I'm gonna extrude here. Then just scale this out to make it rounded. Add some bevels. So I think that's all that we need. That seems about right. So we did mess the scale up a little bit here. I think we can just take all these and scale that out until it fits around. Just move it until it covers it. That looks about right. And we gotta add some curvature. Actually, let's start off with 1. Just gonna place some edges until it fits. And try to make it as straight looking as possible. I think that looks pretty good. And I'm grouping it before I mirror it, so I can just freeze the transforms without actually having to go here and freeze it. It's just a little bit faster. So lastly, we gotta add like a little thingy here to cover it. I think we can move this up a little bit here. Gonna be really lazy, duplicate this. Just cut in there. We can take that. I made it too far away actually. Should be around here. Do something like this. Then we have a little holder. The
first let's get this stuff in Zbrush. Without hold it. So all that. Put some Topology going on. That looks like seems fine. So that's some Topology.
That are these, but those are smoothing fine, I think. Nope. That's why you wanna like fix the smoothing inside Maya. The topology, I mean.
Actually, this came from Maya, but that. The French bevel. That smooths fine.
Not sure why it keeps saying that we have angles. It's fine. We import it, we fix it here. We check the smoothing. So this all looks fine. See if we can fix this little dissection problem. That looks fine. I want to have a little bit of space in between. Actually, let's not have any space in between. And get a little bit of a better bake that way. Now we can manipulate this a little bit easier in Zbrush. Pay attention to how those edges are not even. I want to introduce a little bit of that already. We don't really have the poly count to do that yet. Can get rid of this one. I want to do a final export. This way, after we Dynamash, we can just decide to use this as a low poly base if we want to. Or we can start over, but it's good to have the option here. And let's get a little holder. And duplicate this one. And import. Break the symmetry a bit more here. If you're wondering what matte cap this is the matte cap pearl with some lights. I think it's a pretty nice matte cap to work with for hard surface stuff. Because I just feel like I see the reflections a little bit better, how the material reads. Let's create this little thingy here. So we have this one that looks a little bit cleaner. Then this one looks pretty messy. That's like on the outside of the ladder, I guess. Yeah. So actually let's leave that for now. Let's go ahead and merge this all together. I want to push this down a little bit. So now it's still really easy to edit the main shapes because we have a proper topology. We're gonna Dynamesh so we can clean this edge up and we can merge this together. Go ahead and Dynamesh this. First let's get rid of the glasses. We don't need that to be Dynameshed. Split hidden. Let's just move this all the way down. Same for this one. Let's do like a final check on that placement. I think I want it to be a little bit closer. I think like that looks fine. Maybe it's just a little bit too thick. Not sure why my move brush is not working. Make it a little bit thinner. I think that's just a little bit better. So now that we have that ready, let's do a merge and do save. Can make mistakes, so I can always come back to this point if I need to. I think this is all looking fine, so let's go ahead and duplicate. I'm gonna actually subdivide this, so we get actual geometry instead of a preview. The same here. Let's make sure it's all nice and smooth looking. Gonna delete one side. It's just gonna make Dynamashing faster, so we have less polys. And let's Dynamesh. Just gonna do it at the max resolution possible. Now we get a Dynamesh. I really don't like working with Dynamesh topology because I think it's quite shitty and we already have the shapes blocked out, so we just need to be able to manipulate it. So instead of using the Dynamesh, actually let's first smooth this out a little bit so we can blend that in nicer. So like what I was saying, now if we take this, we can Zremesh it. So we can work with actual subdivisions, which is always going to be better. I think we're going to get quite a shitty topology here. It's actually not too bad. But to get a better bake, it will be better if we just fill that area off as well. Just gonna take this, export it to Maya. make a new scene.
Just gonna take all this and do this. That should work. Pentasphere.
Being a little strange on that side. Go back a bit. So now you can see we filtered those gaps. Go ahead and just subdivide that.
Move up, gap into place.
I do want it to stay away from that edge, so we get like an edge in our bake. It's just nice to fill that empty space up with topology, so we get a solid piece of a geo. You will see this makes a lot more sense if you don't understand it now, as soon as we Dynamash it. So now that we have this, let's take a Dynamash, merge down. Why did that? Gotta flip this. So like that. Now if we Dynamash again, you see that we get a nice closed off topology here. Now if we Zremesh, see now that we have just one piece of geometry without it getting too complicated. Gonna smooth that out a little bit. Gonna Zremesh again. So I'm gonna try the new Zremesh. That's not doing a good job. Gonna polish that out a little bit. This just so the topology gets a little bit nice and even. Then we can take this one. Now we can project it back. See, we're having a little bit of problem here now.
I'm gonna flip this again. Actually, go back a bit. Make it duplicate. So we have that nice and clean there. Just gonna go back here.
Can delete this. I'm gonna project back to this one. As you can see, that stays a little bit nicer. Now we can start subdividing. Just gonna project back every subdivision until it's nice and clean.
And actually, let's go back again.
Before we do that, we need to make sure that we mirror it. So now we can do it. Let's project, clean that up. I think this will be our last projection. So now we get a pretty nice clean looking thingy. See, this doesn't look too bad, but still not as clean as this. I'm gonna subdivide this one more time. We don't need this one anymore. Let's keep it just for a little bit longer. Now here I'm gonna mask these parts off. And anything that's masked off won't be projected. Then we're gonna try to project this one that's cleaner onto this. You can see now it looks a little bit cleaner. Just gets rid of that jackiness from Dynamash if we compare. See how the topology looks cleaner? You can see the difference. So now we can delete this one. We can also delete this one. That's how you prepare your mesh to sculpt additional details on it. Or like chip away some bits. Because now we can really easily sculpt on this. Because it has nice even squares. And we have subdivisions. But since the topology now is like we cannot model anymore on this topology, this is not model friendly. That's why you wanna like move in parts. It seems that the projection here messed up. That's because we didn't use symmetry probably to smooth it out. Just gonna delete lower. And delete. I'm gonna mirror and weld and reconstruct. Move this back into goggles. Move this piece as well. Gonna make save for obvious reasons. So the first thing that I'd like to do is get rid of some of the roundness here. Just going in with the clay buildup, holding down Alt to get rid of that, and then smoothing it out. That's not the most clean way to do it, but since it's like a really old piece, we can get away with it, because then we can use it as like edge damage and mesh imperfections. Add some more imperfections here. Actually gonna work a little bit out of symmetry, because these are really small thingies. You won't be needing it to be symmetrical to have the same topology. That way we just get a little bit more asymmetry out of a sculpt, which is good. As you can see, we don't have that roundness there. Just gonna flatten that out. You can also use the H polish. And then we can kind of clean that hard surface up again. Can use the standard to bring some of that roundness back. Also want to add some more imperfections to the mesh. Like some indenting. Break that perfection up a little bit. So sometimes you can over exaggerate how imperfect this, like here I'm putting quite a big one in there. Then I'm not gonna do that the same over here. I'm gonna be sure that I over exaggerate that a little bit as well, but have it different so you can clearly see that we're breaking the symmetry. I think that can really help make it look more nice. You can see that run is being broken up sometimes. Maybe we can use the damn standard to break that up a little bit and then smooth. I'm just trying to make the surface imperfect. It's very important that we do these imperfections without symmetry. As you can see, when I work on stuff, I don't like to use any fancy brushes or whatever, because I think we don't need them. We can just work with a few basic brushes that come with Zbrush. We can put all our detail in like that. Because let's say for this weld here, right? We could use like a really fancy alpha to weld it. But you're not gonna really see a difference as soon as we bake the textures down to a low poly, to a low quality version. So I think it's just overcomplicating the process. It's gonna take longer. It's gonna be more complicated to teach you. So just stick to the brushes and alphas that you have. Don't worry about it. So I think it's time that we push the middle piece a little bit. As you can see, it's still just a slab of ugly geometry. You can see we have like a double thing going on. So it's ladder and then cushion. Let's make the ladder a little bit thinner. Look for an appropriate thickness. I think something like this. So then we can make a duplicate. Then over here, let's change that offset and make that a little bit more thick. There will be a cushion. So I'm gonna apply. I'm also gonna apply this one. For the first one, it's really important. It's like really nice and soft, not sharp at all. So a bit too sharp. So I think that's pretty nice. And what I don't want is, I don't want it to look like this. I know it looks more like this in the reference if we look at it. But let me put some poly paint. So this one will be a bit light in the texture. Then this one will be a bit darker than the cushion. So one thing that's gonna happen if we do it like this, you see that we don't get like a nice outline, which adds some contrast. Only if we look at it from this side, And as soon as we bake it, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to see as well. So one thing that I always like to do when I do anything leather related, I make sure that the cushion underneath, or if we have like the rough outline of leather on a, let's say, leather belt, it's a little bit in front of the leather. And what that does now, it doesn't matter if we look at it from here or from here, we're always gonna have like a nice little outline of a different color. I think that adds a really nice contrast to your textures.
That's something to keep in mind. That's a color to this as well.
Not sure why this looks darker. Let's go to flat. Make sure we fill that color with a flat color. Don't want to fill the material. That's why we were using the basic material on it earlier. Let's switch to the basic one. I think it looks nicer when we work with polypaint.
Make sure it's on front.
And then this right here should be the cushioning of the leather. Just gonna go ahead and hide that stuff all. Now here we can start to inflate this. It's the same here. You can see that I'm working really soon already here without symmetry, and that's because I want this to be really asymmetrical, because it's right in the center. When something in the center has symmetry, it's gonna be really noticeable. That's why I'm trying to avoid that. Give a bit of roundness to this. It's like it's wrapping around it.
I think that looks pretty nice.
So all this leather here should be going in front of the cushion of the goggles. So I want to pay attention to that. This doesn't need to be too clean, just have it in front. Because this is all gonna be sharing the same low poly. So we just need it to be sorted right.
Just should stand a little bit further. And this should be going in front of that leather.
I really like this little tube thingy here. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I do think it adds really nice breakup. I'm gonna be sure to include it. Just gonna export this to Maya. So this one. create a curve. And I know you can do this in Zbrush as well with curve brushes, but I don't really like using those too much. I think they're really imprecise and just in general pain to work with. Get the goggles in there. You can see it's really easy to have control over these curves. So we get these CV points and we can just move them around. So now that we have like a curve, move this a little bit. Yeah. We can go create sweep mesh. Just load that scale profile. Put this to start to end. Put this at like 16. Now we can take this, export. Now we can import it here. It's matched to this color. Looks safe. Lost one of my buttons. Let's put it here. Just make sure everything's in the goggle folder. I think that's all. Let's go solo folder. It's just gonna hide everything except for the current selected subtool. And then it's gonna see in which folder that subtool is, and it's gonna hide everything except for this one. You can download on my ArtStation page, and I made it free, so you don't have to pay anything. That's nice because now we can really focus on the part that we're working on. Again, we added this support, so we can make the ladder go up until that point, so we can kind of guide ourselves, which is pretty sweet. See, this should be pretty rounded over there. And let's make sure that we keep that nice break up here. It should be really rounded. Make sure we don't have a straight edge. You can see here like how it's being sewn in. Get a really messy line. I think that will do it for the goggles, because we're pretty far on them by now. Just want to be sure that I move this one right. As you can see here, we have an empty area. That's what I want to avoid. Same again here, we have an empty area. I want to fill all those empty areas up. That's just gonna make it easier to do your topology later on. So you wanna model your high poly in a way where you make it easy for yourself to go to the next step of doing the high poly, of the low poly. Because if you have a high poly that looks really nice, but it's not made with topology in mind, it's gonna be a pain. But if you model your high poly right, it's gonna be really easy to do the low poly. That can sound kind of vague, but if you've done quite a lot of high polys by now and low polys, you know what works in a high poly and what doesn't work in a high poly. So let's try to get the mask to work better with the goggles in it. So now that we spent all this time on the goggles, we can go back to the mask. Not sure why the poly paint keeps popping up. Ah, that's why. Let's not move the mask like that. Gonna have to move the goggles a bit. So I want to take this one, go to the high subdivision, do the same here. We can merge these two together and we'll keep the subdivisions. Now we can just move that out. Now merging them together obviously, so I can move them together instead of one by one. It's gonna save a little bit of time and struggles. And at this point you wanna think, how am I gonna do the low poly? What am I gonna merge together? I think I'll keep the mask separated as its own element from the goggles. So I don't need to worry about like doing stuff like this, don't have any gaps. Same for the helmet, I'll keep it its own element. And with element I mean just its own mesh. But like for example, I don't want to have this mesh separated from this mesh because I want to put it together. So that will be one element together. So we take a look at our model right now. The part that's bugging me the most is the straps and the connections. So let's go ahead and make a proper connection. So we have a system like this with a hook. Then we have this little thingy where the strap will connect to. Let's export this out to Maya. This one we're going to be opening the gas mask. So let's take a second to think of the fastest way to model this. I think the easiest will be to just go here, polygon cube, scale this up. We're just gonna model like a triangle shape out. Then once we have that triangle shape, we can connect two tubes to make them together. extrude like I did earlier. I'm just extruding so I can bevel.
Something like that. Oh, we did thickness again. Come on, bevel this inwards.
See, the edges are getting pretty close together here. We can also try. Doesn't really work. Actually, it's fine like this. You can go here and then scale it up here. So it's a little bit thicker. I think that's too thick actually. Now we need a little hook thingy there that we can just boolean onto it. I think that's already fine.
Thickness. Should have like an edge in the middle here. Do some here. I think we just bevel all the stuff. The bevel needs to be sharp.
I think like that's fine. So now we can do a second one. Just group them together. Should be some space. I don't think this one's around. I think it's like one of those flat tube thingies.
Something like that.
Then we need to merge this area up with the Dynamesh later to make the one surface. Like weld it together. I think it should be a little bit longer here.
A bit shorter. Yeah, something like that works out. Needs to be a little bit longer.
Actually, that does kind of work. Let's go back a little bit. I think it will be easier if we just take this and do a lattice.
Hey, just move this out. Same here, let's move it out. We can move these out by hand. That will do it. Now let's export. Let's change the color a bit.
I think I'm gonna hold these straps on. Like this one has a different connection and we cannot really make that work with what we have now. So that second one should connect with a clip around here. So it should be connecting up until the middle. So we can just take our block out. And actually let's get rid of some of the topology instead. I think this gives us gives us a chance to like kind of try to frame that gas mask filter. Could place this a little bit more down. Get rid of these finishes. Rid of some of that topology as well. Mirror and weld. Don't like how wide the straps are getting, so I'm gonna move this in a bit. And we can rotate this piece a bit. Get the different gizmo. So it's just a little bit easier to rotate a bit. I think we should make this one a little bit thicker. For canvas, we can just crease this. Just let's crease. Don't like how much we're starting to cover up from the filter. Something looks strange about this. I think this one should be going downwards actually. And then this one should be going there instead. That looks a little bit more